Welcome to the Confidence in You podcast, designed to help you build confidence and create positive, lasting change in your life. And here's your host, Helen Luxford.
Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. Thanks again for joining me today and working on your self-esteem and confidence. Today, I want to talk about managing our emotional responses. Emotions are something that we all have, and depending on how we were raised, we will have learnt different ways to express our emotions. Before we get started, I just want to say that all emotions are valid. Yep, all of them. Happiness, sadness, hurt, frustration, guilt, excitement, fear, delighted, lucky, joyful, contentment, bliss, anger, shame, and all the other feelings that you might be experiencing are all valid, and they're all within us for a reason. And as humans, we experience a range of emotions, and there are no good or bad, they're just emotions. However, we've been taught that some are good and some are bad, but it's just an emotion. It's how we express them that can impact on those around us and make the experience for others and ourselves either good or not so good. Now, some emotions do make us feel better than others. So happiness and joy, excitement make us feel good inside. And grief and sadness and loss, not so great inside. But we need to process and feel all of our emotions, good, bad, or otherwise, so that we can process the emotional loop and be able to let go of the feelings that are associated with emotions, particularly the ones that make us feel not so good. If we don't do that, they become trapped in our body. So if we experience grief or sadness, which are not so great to feel, we still need to feel through them in order to be able to experience and process those emotions so that we can then allow that space to be open to receive other better feeling emotions like love, acceptance, joy, and happiness. If we suppress emotions that don't feel good, which we have been taught to do by society, and we squash them by whatever means we've worked out works for us, it could be withdrawing, alcohol, drugs, blaming, anger, lashing out, or any other form of not dealing with that emotion, then you're masking processing these feelings. When you mask, suppress, bury, or hide your emotions to avoid feeling them, they stay trapped in your body and in your unconscious mind. They can even manifest in physical ailments. There's a great book called The Secret Language of Your Body by Inna Segal. If you're experiencing physical ailments, soreness, or disease, check out Inna Segal's book and see what you relate to and looking how she explains and identifies how trapped emotions manifest physically. She's also got remedies in that book that can help you shift or move the trapped emotions. As humans, our ability to experience and express emotions is paramount to good health, mentally, physically, and in maintaining good relationships with ourselves and others, those close to us and those that we love. However, in Western society in particular, if throughout our life we've been taught to suppress our emotions or to lash out, or we've learned by seeing how others around us express their emotions and we mimic them in an unhealthy way, we can cause harm to ourselves and our relationships with others. But if that's all we've seen and that's all we know, that's the only way we know how to deal with it, then that's how we will deal with it. So let's think about this. If someone received bad news or is experiencing an emotion that doesn't feel great, let's say they aren't invited to an event that you're throwing and you didn't invite them for whatever reason, they may feel a range of emotions. They may feel nothing to, oh well, it's just an event, or they may feel hurt, sad, angry, upset, abandoned, or unloved, or any number of other emotions. Now, it's not your intention because the event you're organising is for your school friends, and this person who is upset is a family member. And this particular event is for you and your friends to get together and to reminisce and remember the fun things you did at school. So you haven't invited any family members, you've only invited that group. The family member who is feeling hurt, sad, anger, upset, and abandonment aren't feeling those things because they're not going to your event. The event that you're organising is a trigger for them because their unconscious mind is automatically relating it back to something that has happened in their past and is bringing up the same emotions that they experienced way back then to the event now. It could go back days or weeks, but it could also go back many, many, many years to childhood. The point is that they've experienced these feelings associated with a past event, and they're feeling them again because they're not invited to your event. They've been triggered by not being invited to your event. Or similar feelings could arise when a relationship ends, or you lose your job, or you might drop a favourite item that someone special gave to you and it broke, and you're feeling sad, angry, hurt, or whatever you're feeling. All of these things and anything else you can experience in life can be triggers to past emotional events. Our unconscious mind is very, very powerful. It stores every experience we've ever had. But we're not aware of these memories on a minute-by-minute or day-by-day basis because they're stored all the way back there in our unconscious mind or memory, in our archives. And our mind does this to keep us safe. Our mind's job, its only job, is to keep us safe. So it stores all these memories deep, deep down inside so it can recall them when we are in a similar situation in the future and bang, it brings up those same emotions and reactions to a past event to handle the event in front of us now. But the thing is, we're different now, we're older, we're in a different stage of our life, and we're probably better equipped to deal with events differently. But our mind doesn't know that. It goes back. Our emotional reaction is so strong that it kicks in and it takes over and we react just like we did all those years ago, but we may not be aware or remember that time in the past. Has there ever been a time where you've had an argument with someone close to you and you lashed out in anger, fear or hurt, and you were really, really wound up in that moment? And after the event, as you walked away and you thought about it and you calmed down, you wished you'd behaved or responded differently? We've all done it. This is a good example of how our emotional triggers kick in automatically and we react rather than respond to situations. Our instinctive reaction is there in an instant, and those words come out of your mouth before you can even think about it. So how's that working for you? Is your emotional reaction helping or hindering what outcome you're looking for? Is your emotional reaction helping or hindering your relationships? Is it bringing you closer or pushing people further away? Think about you. Do you want to be around people that react angrily or abusively, or would you prefer to avoid them? Because if you're reacting in that way, then chances are people are going to, I don't want to feel like that when I'm around that person, and they may avoid you. Can you see in situations or in certain times that you have reacted in a way that hasn't helped you? And can you see a pattern where it might arise sometimes? Could be with a family member, it could be at work, it could be any situation really. We all have these inbuilt reactions to some things, these triggers that are in our lives. However, once you become aware of these, you can do something about it. And that's what today's episode is all about. You will hear me say this a lot if you listen to my podcasts. With awareness comes choice. If you're not aware, you can't do anything about it. Once you become aware, you now have a choice to do something different or not. And when you become aware of how you react, you now have a choice to change that reaction to a response and respond differently. And now I'm going to give you a process that can help you do just that. When you can observe your emotions and acknowledge what you're feeling, you can then manage them and respond in different ways. Think of the acronym OCCE, OCCE. It's one I've made up, and it stands for Observe, Catch, Change, and Engage with New Energy. So let's talk through each stage of that 4-step process. So now that you're aware that we all have these inbuilt triggers, next time you start to react to a situation, you feel that emotion rising up inside you, Observe yourself doing so. Step 1 is observing. That's you raising your awareness of your instinctive reactions that aren't helping you anymore. That old reaction would have served you at some point in the past to keep you safe. It might have been a long time ago when you were a small child, but you're a different person now, and you can respond differently, especially now that you're aware of it and are observing how and when you react like this. So step 1, observing. Good job for you being able to recognise and observe these reactions to these events, and these reactions that aren't helping you. Step 2 is catch them. Catch that instinctive old reaction. Think of it as a ball and you've caught it. And ask yourself, if I react this way, the way that I always have in this situation, is that going to help or hinder me? Is that instinctive reaction going to get me the outcome that I'm looking for or not? And then step 3 is if it's not going to give you the outcome you're looking for, change it. Step 3 is change. Change it to a different response rather than a reaction. So stop, take a breath, and think about how you can handle this differently. How can you speak, move, or relate to the other person in a different way to get a different outcome by changing your response? And step 4 is engaging with new energy. Now that you've observed the situations where this happens, you've caught that emotional trigger and you've been able to change your response, your energy will be different. I'll give you an example of my life. So my husband used to put things in the sink, not the dishwasher, and it used to drive me nuts. The sink would fill up with dirty dishes and look messy. So my instinctive reaction to this was to raise my voice and tell him off in a very teachery or parenty way, whilst at the same time banging the dishes around into the dishwasher and slamming the door shut. So how do you think that worked for me? Yeah, not so good. Would you want to engage with someone in a state like that, a state of telling off? And because I was reacting in that way, nothing changed and I just became upset and angry. So you can see where this is going, a downward spiral, where nothing changed because my emotional reaction was hindering the very thing I wanted to achieve by him just shutting down and driving him away like he probably just switched off in his mind to the noise of an aggressive wife telling him off in a parenty teachery way because of a simple thing as putting dishes in the sink. However, when I became aware of this, I changed my approach. As I was loading the dishwasher, I used a different approach. In a calm voice, I said, "Honey, can you please pop the dishes in the dishwasher because you putting them in the sink and me taking them out and putting them in the dishwasher is double handling." Boom, what a difference. He went, "Oh, okay." And now, more often than not, he puts the dishes in the dishwasher. Can you see the difference? When I observed, caught, and changed my reaction to a response, a calm response, I got a different outcome. I got the outcome I was seeking because I engaged with different energy, which in turn meant that he responded and engaged with me with different energy in a new way. He engaged with me because I was asking in a calm and rational manner and not being an annoying, angry wife. There's a couple of studies that suggest having good emotional regulation skills is linked to well-being. And one of those studies also found a potential link between good emotional regulation and financial success. So putting in some work may literally pay off for you. So thinking about OCCE, observe, catch, change, engage differently, can really make a difference in your life. I'll put the link to the studies in the show notes. That's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I'd really appreciate a rating and review on iTunes so we can reach more people together. And thanks for sharing this with family and friends. Until next time, let your light shine, and remember, you're one decision away.